Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Bear me just a second so I can make sure we're selling you guys advertisements on this channel so I can get that George Soros money from YouTube advertisements. Hey, Marie, Harry, the other Donald, Jeremy in the house. Jeremy, I'm also on Rumble, by the way, everybody. Just FYI, I'm also on Rumble. So just hold on just a second. Hold on just a second, people. We're gonna get we gotta get set up here. Boink. Gotta do like that. Gotta do like this. Gotta do like that. Gotta do like this. Hold on just a second. Right. Looks good. Looks good there. Hold on, I gotta change. All right, we gotta go. You blink. Can't get my whistling off. Everybody. Man, come on, man. It's taking forever. Hold on just a second. Let me get it squared away. Hold on, people. Hold on, people. Man, it's taking forever. Jeez Louise and blue cheese. Whistle while you work. Right on, man. There we go. So I click on the thing to drive revenue. I don't really get these live streams don't pay much. Just as in case you're doing a YouTube channel, doing live streams, you don't sell that much advertising. I don't even look, man. Just as on the FYI, I don't control the advertisers. I don't know who advertises. I don't know when they I have no idea. I have no clue at all how YouTube does it. Frankly, don't care that much. But I have no idea how many ads are on there. I have no idea. I just don't know. I pay like $10 a month to the YouTube Premium, so I don't see in the ads, which is pretty cool. But some people get really they're bent out of shape about the ads. They say you're doing all these ads. I don't do them. YouTube does them as they see fit. So the live streams don't generate a lot of revenue, just as an FYI. And just so the point being is the live streams are actually fun to do because you get the interaction. But YouTube as a whole, they don't sell much ads on the live streams. And the reason I think that's interesting is because I don't know like how YouTube is profitable off the live streams, and more people going live on a regular basis. I don't know how YouTube makes any money on that, to be honest with you. In fact, I don't know if YouTube makes any money, generally speaking, simply because Google owns them, and YouTube is not profitable. So, yeah, which is interesting. And I don't know how Rumble makes. So now for Rumble, because I'm on there right now, I pay $25 a month for Rumble to have access to do the live streams, but for YouTube, it's free. So it's interesting. So Rumble, they get paid because of the people who have live stream capability. You have to have a certain amount of subscribers, and you pay a certain amount of money, and then you can do live streams. And that's what I do on Rumble. But so Rumble's interesting. We'll see how Rumble shakes out in the future because I think Rumble is a pretty good alternative, frankly. All right. So let's see what we got here. I think I saw a question from Marie. Short week coming up. Yeah, man. Thanksgiving here. Yeah, right on. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rumble. So just as an FYI, I'm going to share with you how to get to my Rumble page. So go to actually, I'll do this. Someone remind me to do that later because I want to have once you have more people on here, I want to show them how to do Rumble and my locals. But I appreciate y'all being here for sure. Thank you, Valerie. Blessings to you and yours. Back at you. We got Doug and Bruce and Eric and the Packers in the house. Right on. Kevin from Arizona. Scott's in there. Michigan. Go the Big Blue. Yeah. Australia's in the house. Yikes. I'm surprised you're not being locked down. I'm surprised the Nazis haven't thrown you in their freaking the Stasi haven't thrown you in their gulag yet. All right. Shout out to Virginia for voting red for the first time in 10 years. Yeah. I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I think it's good. My wife is griping and right about Youngkin not getting rid of mask mandates and stuff throughout the state. I don't know. I look, man. If you live in a county that wants it, it should all be down at the local level. All of it should be at the local level, and I don't have a problem with that. If a county says, look, we want mask mandates because we're scared of our own shadows, so be it, man. I don't have any problem with that. My wife's like, well, they shouldn't, and I get it. I mean, you don't want. This is the problem with the liberals. We've ceded so much to them because we believe in literally states' rights and locality rights that we've said we don't want big government controlling everything. And the liberals take that and they run away with it. But I don't want to be in the place where you guys might not remember, but as freaking Rick Perry, remember in Texas, he was mandating the HPV vaccination for children. Rick Perry was. And I remember a lot of libs, rightly so, were up in arms about that. And that was before my stance as it is now on vaccines. It's like, yeah, that doesn't seem right, but I guess they got the science behind them. Point being is none of that crap should come from a right-wing governor or a left-wing governor. It should come from your locality. It's just that simple, man. And I'll never forget Rick Perry's mandate. And I remember this is my first introduction to the issue on vaccines, but it seemed like it was a left versus right paradigm there. And now I know it's not a left versus right. Now I know the science is not solved at all in this at any stretch of the imagination. And if you think it is because of measles and polio, you frankly don't know what the hell you're talking about. You just don't. I'm sorry. If you think the vaccine is what resolved measles, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry to say that. You don't. You haven't learned history at all. You're just going along with what they want you to go along with. And if you think polio vaccine was all safe and everything was, you're freaking nuts, man. You don't know what you're talking about. You just don't. And that doesn't mean you have to be anti-vax to say this, but the facts are, I was always rather ignorant of this stuff. And then I remember Rick Perry said, I don't think the governor should be mandating anything. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like that then, and I don't like it now. And I also think it goes the other direction. If a county wants to freaking mandate the stupid masks, the county should have the ability to do so. It's just that simple. If your town wants to mandate the mask, your town should have the ability to do so. I don't like it, but I mean, don't live in these places. And I'm going to share with you, by the way. So check this out. I'm working on this right now. I've been working on this for a lot of the day here. All right, so we're going to go down to here's the Georgia. All right, here's a Georgia election map. And just like every place else, there's a sea of red and a couple islands of blue. But anyway, what I did here is I took the county by county, all right, county results, and I cut paste. So let's pick on let's see, I want to show you one right here. Here's Bartow County right here. 74% for Trumpster. All right, 74% for Trumpster. So I said, okay, that's interesting. So that's a county I would want to live in. All right, now I live in Fulton County. So let me just show what I'm talking about here. Right here, Fulton County. Only 26% for Trumpster. And that's where I live. Now, if I would have lived just one county over in Cherokee County, 68% for Trumpster, just literally 5 miles that way. Nuts. And so basically the point being is I'm doing this, I'm concocting this right here. County by county place here. And I'm looking at the states, the counties that had over 800,000 people in the population, basically over 100,000, pretty close, that voted for Trump pretty significantly. So here's Bibb County. 153,000 people in Bibb County. Only 37% voted for Trump. Not moving there. There's Barrow County again, 88,000 people. The county seats Winder. All right, and the 70% voted for Trumpster. So I'm like, all right, interesting. It's Bullock County, 84,000 people live there. Statesboro is the place. A little bit too. I'm not sure I'd want to live there. It's just a little bit too the flat area of Georgia. But anyway, that look at that. 61% of the county voted for the Trumpster, and that's their state seat right there, county seat. Here's Carroll County. Interesting. That's Carroll's the county seat. 123,000 people in the county. 68% voted for Trumpster. The point being is that is what I'm doing here is I'm saying okay, and then I'm going to do. Hold on a second. Where'd I go? Oh, you guys didn't see all that. Hold on a second. I got to share that with you. Hold on. You didn't see all that. Hold on a second. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. I didn't share that with you. Check this out. Right here. All right. So here's what I was talking about. Here's Barrow County. 88,000 people live there. 70% voted for Trumpster. And Winder or Winder, I don't even know how you pronounce it, is the county seat. So that looks like pretty favorable to me. So I'm like, I bet there's a lot of people because I get emails all the time, like, where should I live in Georgia? I don't want to be in a blue place. Yeah. So anyway, the point being is, if you take it to your locality, your local area, your county, your town, and whatnot, you can make things happen. But if you're relying on the governor or the president to free you, you can't. You got to start with the county. And obviously, your state's important. I grant you that 100%. But your county is the most important thing. And frankly, it even starts with your school board. And I'm telling you, man, these guys have this. Why do you think the school board elections a lot of time are in June? Because most people aren't paying attention. And just going back to the video I did yesterday on Nassim Nicholas Taleb, he talks about the tyranny of the minority. The facts are the school teachers unions and stuff like that, and the school administrators, they all know to vote in the June elections because A, they know there's an election, and B, they know they're going to get paid if they do. Whereas you and I are just regular taxpayers, like, okay, I'll get down there if I think about it, but I might not think about it. For them, it's incredibly important. For us, we're like, it's just not that big of a deal. And that's why we are here now. The school boards and the local elections with these crazy town councilors, these crazy school boards in Gwinnett County, they're arresting people for protesting not wearing masks. In Gwinnett County School Board District, they put 2 women in jail for not wearing masks. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Just freaking nuts. And the cops did it. So before you say, "Oh, I back the blue," yeah, back the blue when the blue needs to be back, but don't back them all the time because the cops should never have busted these people. It's freaking nuts. Nuts. Anyway, all right, let's keep going here. So, point being is, yeah, I got $50 super chat. Wow. All right, Philip, appreciate that. That's awful nice. All right, upstate New York's in the house. Oh, we got Maine. All right, my man Michael Ray is from Maine. All right, what part of the great state of Maine you at? Tragedy strikes Christmas parade. Oof. I think I read about that, man. Gas prices, I think they're about 3.5. I think 3.20, something like that. In Georgia, Noonan, Georgia. Yeah, so Noonan, Georgia is on my list there, Bill. I'm getting out of Fulton County once the kids are out of school. I'm just telling that right now. So will I stay in Georgia? I don't know, but I mean, I like Georgia. Georgia's a pretty nice state. So we go to Noonan County. And we go down here. Oh, not Noonan. We go to I'll just type. We go to Noonan. Yeah, right. Where is it? Hold on a sec. Boink. I got it in here. Right there. Coweta, something like that county. Right there. 153,000 people in Coweta County. 67% voted for Trumpster. Noonan, Georgia's nice town. 33,000 people. Perfect, man. So I'm just telling you, 100%. That's what you want. You want to get your county, and you want to be in a county that's red. You don't want this freaking blue crap because look what's happening all over the world. You don't look. And by the way, Austria, a supposed right-wing government. Australia, supposed right-wing government. UK, a supposed right-wing government. They can all kiss my big fat behinds because they're not right-wing when it comes to the freaking Maxine Waters. They're not. Their totalitarian is just as bad as the left. So they can all kiss my behind. And I'm telling you, man, if there's any vacillating on the mandates of any of this crap, they're not right wingers. They're not. Right wingers are for freedom and nationalism. These people are not for that. These people are statists. These people want to control you just as much as anybody else. And as such, you can't just vote for the red thinking, oh, he's a good guy. Hell no, man. There's lots of bad right wingers. I mean, look, the left is evil, but the right wingers can be just as bad. All right, so here we go. We got a question here, I think. Bottle Rocket. Okay, so he He's an 18-year-old man who recently became Christian in a very secular environment. Now, I'd be interested to see how you became Christian in a secular environment. What advice do I have? I would tell you, man, if I were you, I'm telling you, if in hindsight, um, I would not, I would not engage in sexual actions with women until you're married. I'm just telling you, especially for a white guy. Well, no, it's not true. Black guys too. That's There's a lot of women who will turn on you in 2 seconds flat, and you're going to be guilty even if you're completely innocent. It won't matter. It won't matter. So I would avoid engaging in any kind of sexual relations, and that doesn't mean kiss and stuff. That's fine, but remember, you got to save yourself for that special person. I'm telling you, man. In hindsight, I'm just telling you, man. It's not, all these guys. Look, I was there. They thought it was cool to, freaking hook up. That's not cool. That's being a fool. I'm just telling you right now. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't get engaged in all that kind of crap. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It's nothing. I tell my boys this too, as they're kind of young, but I still say, look, there's nothing good that comes drinking alcohol with your boys and trying to hook up with chicks. Nothing good can come from that. And if I was a newly Christian, minted Christian 8-year-old man, you got to keep in your pants, brother. You gotta make sure you do. And frankly, I would avoid pornography like it's the plague. Pornography is addictive. It's just as addictive as all kinds of other crap out there. Everybody knows it. Most men know this, by the way. Most men do. And it can suck a lot of time and energy away from you. I'm just telling you, dude. Pornography is evil. It's trying to chase chicks just so you can say, "Look at me." That's not good. Um, you just have to stand firm, and you might be lonely for a little bit, but there's a nice lady who's ready to freaking be your wife. Part two of this, I wouldn't get too caught up in. You gotta avoid trying to be like, oh man, I want 5 kids right out the gate. Don't scare off a lady. I mean, I think it's good to say that you want a family and stuff, 100%, but don't get so over the top like you're gonna scare off some ladies who might be interested in you as you're talking to them, because that could scare them off. I mean, I'm just telling you right now. Thankfully, Charlotte came from a big family and wanted a lot of kids too. Because I said, yep, want a big family, want 5 kids right out of the gate. And she has 8 brothers and sisters, so I think she was amenable to that. But I could have easily scared off a lot of ladies by saying that for sure. But don't get caught up in like, oh, look how many chicks I was with. That's freaking, dude. Don't waste your stuff, man. I can't stress this enough. Just don't. I would go to the Bertaria Times app. Let me just show you it real quick, guys, because I think this app is important for people to follow. All right, hold on a second here. We're gonna go to. All right, we are going to go to this is like a Christian homesteading, no porn, no cussing, nothing like that on this app. The Bertaria Times, and I'm such a huge fan of this. It's just fantastic. So you see, I'm from Maine. I'm in, yeah. So no one's having more babies than the people, the bears, and the Bertaria Times. It's fantastic. It's all about homesteading, but it's not just. I don't have chickens, it's not a small garden, but it's everything. It's just everything, man. It's the app. Let me just put it in here. App.Bertaria Times. The point being is they're trying to escape from Babylon, and you don't escape from Babylon by hiding in the mountains. You escape from Babylon by not being part of Babylon, which says, I'm not going to play that game anymore. I'm done. I'm done with it. And what I mean by that is that, you don't start being stupid. You just say, no, I mean, I'm just going to follow, God's will. And I want to be clean, as pure as wind-driven snow as best I can. You're not going to be, but you're going to try your best. And ultimately, when you follow along the path of righteousness, the things are going to come to you, but you're going to have to follow along with it. And so just keep that in mind, brother, because it's tough, and especially this day and age, being a Christian, everyone, but it's good. This is good. Christianity was never supposed to be the in crowd stuff. It never was. We're always supposed to be on the out. And the only reason we're on the in crowd is because we sold our souls to rock and roll. Truly. And so if to bring Christianity back, we've really got to be on the outside. And so seeing what is happening in the world where everyone is mocking a Christian, wow, that's so strong and so risky. No, it's not. It's easy, man. It's like mocking a white guy. I see all this, don't cry white tears, Kyle Rittenhouse. No one ever say that about LeBron James. Don't cry black tears. But if it's a white guy, I get it, man. It's cool. It's good. It's what you want. You want to be on the outside. You don't want to be on the inside because the inside is evil. Evil. All right. Let's keep talking. But good job. Keep it up, man. Bottle rocket right on. All right. What happens at tax time if you underestimate your earnings for ACA yearly? I have a variable 1099 income. Well, if you underestimate your earnings, then they find out the Obamacare people, they're going to charge you. They're going to call back that money, and they're going to charge you a penalty too. So it's just like if you Jeremy says, I make millions in live streams. Don't let it fool you. Yeah. Making millions, brother. I'm a millionaire in Zimbabwean dollars. Anyway, the point being, I appreciate y'all. If you're on Rumble, I appreciate you. So let me just show you again my Rumble channel. Anyway, so it's just like if you don't pay enough taxes, Marie, on the, like if you don't have enough taxes withheld and you owe a lot, you're going to pay a penalty there too, for sure. All right. So let me just show you how to get to my Rumble channel. Look, YouTube's been good to me. I love YouTube, but at some point at some point we're all going to get banned from YouTube. As such, there has to be an alternative. So if you want to follow your old buddy Josh, come to Rumble. I don't post as much on Rumble as I do on YouTube. I like YouTube. YouTube is fantastic. I was listening to a guy today. I think I even posted a video talk about the insanity of the DNA clowns. How they basically said, yeah. So basically, what they did is they took they chopped a worm. I forgot what kind of worm it was. They chopped off his tail and they gave the worm a positive electric boost where his tail was. You know what grew back? A freaking head. A head grew back. It was a two-headed worm. They chopped the tail. So if you chop a tail off, the tail will grow back on a worm. If you chop the head off, the head will grow back on a worm. It's crazy. In this case, they chopped the tail off and they gave it an electric boost, electric positive current, essentially. And the head grew back. Not a tail, a head. So is it two-headed? Is it a new species? Probably. Two-headed worm. But the DNA is the exact same thing. It's crazy. It's freaking awesome. I mean, sometimes I wish I smoked dope. I love to sit there and smoke some doobies and just ponder like how much we don't know and yet we act like we know. Freaking Crick, Francis Crick, whatever the guy's name, Watson Crick. He's like, I've just proven there's no God. And Crick's a nut, by the way. So all these people say, oh, Crick, or it's Crick, or is Crick. Weirdo, dude. Weirdo. That doesn't mean he's evil. It just means, they think Christians are crazy for not believing evolution and believing creationism. Yeah, your boy Crick is a nutcase if you see his theories of how the world came to be. It's nuts. Anyway, it's how awesome. So I learned that on YouTube. Could I have learned that on Rumble? Probably not. I don't think it's got, YouTube is like the jukebox from heaven, man. It's crazy. That's why I still love YouTube. But at the end of the day, YouTube is YouTube. They're big corporate media, and corporate media hates, people that are not towing the company line. So there needs to be an alternative. So anyway, so we're going to share my screen here. And so what you do to follow your old buddy Josh is you go to, we're just going to go to rumble.com. All right. And we'll see who's coming up in Rumble. We got my man Viva Frey, who I'm competing with right now, Rat Fink. All right. So Viva Frey's got 2,700 people on here right now on Rumble. That's fantastic. And I got 3 on Rumble, but it's all good. Anyway, so you go here and you don't go to videos, you go to channels, and you type in Josh Scanlon. And then you're going to find Finance and Freedom is my main. I have 2 channels. I don't know why, but I think if you, just go to Finance and Freedom, man. Just do that one, please. And then you subscribe there. All right. And then it's been a couple of days since I posted my last thing here. But anyway, so then you get on here, you subscribe, and you'll see my videos. Where's my so that's how you do it. Hope that makes sense. So again, rumble.com. You click, go to video, click channel, Josh Scanlon, and then it'll come up Finance and Freedom. Is it on this one right here? Oh yeah, I guess I'm in on this. Oh, interesting. I think if you subscribe to the Josh Scanlon one, it subscribes to you both automatically. Oh, interesting. Why it's not showing up here? That's weird. All right, either way. So let me bring it back here. Because I didn't create two channels. I just created the Josh Scanlon one, and I created a sub channel. And so I think I think it must be on the if you subscribe to Josh Scanlon, you automatically I don't know. Anyway, just subscribe to them both if that makes sense. All right, cool. Hope that makes sense. All right, cool. Let's keep going. Blink. All right. Yeah, YouTube loses big bucks. Rockford, Illinois is here. Right on. Is in my Roth all VTI with a little VTV. I don't understand what you asked me, Vaughn. In my Roth all VTI with a little VTV. That's a question mark, but that's not a question. So you might try to. I'm not sure what you're saying. What is happening with the markets? No clue. What's happening with the markets or the futures down? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. Something happening. Now we got. I believe that my wife and I are on the right track, but there are always concerns. I want to retire at 62. My wealth be 54. Is this the last year for the backdoor Roth? I don't know. I mean, it looks like the House has passed it. I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see. Could be. Yeah, I mean, it could be the last year for the backdoor Roth. Absolutely. But I mean, until it's in, we just don't know. I think the House did pass it, but I don't know if the still got to go to committee. I don't know what the Senate. I have no idea. So we just have to wait and see. Better resign. I fire you. Or fire you? Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, look, I'm not an attorney by any stretch of the imagination, but I would much think it'd be preferable for you to be fired. At least you get unemployment. You know what I'm saying? You get unemployment, and you might have some legal ramifications later. If you resign, I don't know how you would. I mean, if you resign, you did it on your own accord. So I don't know how that would shake out. You say I'm quitting. What ramifications do you have? You got New York City in the house. What small cap fund do I recommend for a taxable brokerage account? I'm 25 years from drawing on it. I mean, I don't recommend anything specifically, but I would go look at VTI, that's for sure. And that's not small cap, but tough to go wrong with the total stock index for 25 years. But who knows? Who knows? Oh yeah, I keep posts on YouTube. Well, I mean, look, man, I get paid on YouTube. I get paid good money on YouTube. I mean, YouTube's good to me. I mean, I hate that they change their terms of service without telling people why they're changing them. I hate that they ban people. It seems to ebb and flow though, and the banning seems to have been lessened. It's just look, man. It seems to go in sort of cycles, and some months you're fine, and other months, I had 2 strikes back in June of this past year, 2021. And I was 1 strike away from losing the whole channel. So I backed up a little bit and I didn't post quite as much. And I just kind of bit my tongue. But now I post stuff, and it seems to be that there's a lot of people who are questioning the Maxine Waters who aren't getting banned now. So it just comes and goes. It's weird, man. Phil says, I'm a great man. My buddy and coworker, Tom D from New York, used your services, speaks so highly of you. I want to make an appointment with you and use your services as well. Right on, Phil. Well, I appreciate that. I'm not taking clients until 2022, but if you want to email me, you can. I can put you on the wait list for sure. All right, let's see. Why or when should someone hire a financial advisor? So I worked with a couple the other day, nice couple, and they're young. And I haven't worked with many young people because I don't think it's worth their fee, frankly. But I spent the time with them, so I was able to give them some guidance. But the problem with young people is that it's always the same thing. It's so simple because they have these goals, and you're like, man, those goals are 30 years out. I hate to say it, but it's borderline stupid to have these. And in this case, they weren't that young, so their goals were different, but they're still younger than I typically take. And nice people. Look, they're good. I'm not disparaging them in the least. But if I'm 25 years old, let's just for an example, and I hire a financial advisor, what the hell is a financial advisor going to tell me to do? Invest more, invest more. Okay. And put it in stocks. That's what they're going to tell you to do. All right. Well, you didn't need to hire a financial advisor. I just told you to do that. If you're 35, what's a financial advisor going to tell you to do? Invest more and put it in stocks. Okay. So, I mean, there's nothing that a financial advisor can do at this stage because the projections are for retirement planning are so far out, and it's just we have no clue what the future is going to be. So the thing is, if you're married, and that's why I tell everybody, make sure you have your estate planning done. Just go to LegalZoom and fill it out. It costs $200. LegalZoom.com. You get your will, your power of attorney, your healthcare directive, and your living will done for both you and spousey. I'd always say buy $500,000 of term life insurance. All right, term. You get a 20-year, $500,000 term policy. It's not going to cost you much if you're young and you're healthy. Just get it, just in case. But I don't need it. Yeah, it's not. You might though, and it's because it's so cheap. You're buying it today when it's cheap, and avoid like a plague the debt, man. Don't freaking buy a fancy schmancy new car with your first bonus check. Don't drive older vehicles. Every single time I talk to people, I say, and going back to the younger people I was dealing with, the issue that they had was they live in a very expensive state. If they move from that expensive state, they're going to be fine. But how do we project whether or not they're going to move from that expensive state for 25 to 30 years from now? It's an impossibility, with all these other goals and stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. But the point being is once they have the ability to move from an expensive state, they'll be kicking butt and taking names. But how do you project retirement expenses when you're 35 years old? How do I project retirement expenses? I'm 51. There's no way. Anyway, so what was I saying here? So you go, so you buy, so you a couple of things. Don't, every single person I talk to, every single one, when they're successful, I always say, what kind of cars you drive? And to a man, not all the time, but a hell of a lot more, a huge predominant amount. They're driving 2014 Toyota Camrys, and the husband's driving, or 2013. I was talking to these people just the other day. 2014 Toyota Camry, and I think he said a early 2000 Dodge pickup truck. It's the same flipping story every single time. Some people be driving a 2018, but it's paid for because they want to make sure that they're keeping up. They had to trade it in at some point, and they say, "Look, I'm going to drive a 2018." And you're like, "Oh, you're driving a fancy car?" No, because they drove their old car into the freaking ground, which is exactly what you want. It's I used to say it's a mortgage, not having a mortgage in the pension. I still say that, but the corollary is not driving fancy schmancy good time rock and roll cars. If you're able to drive your car for well over 100, 150,000 miles, I can almost tell you you're going to be fine. The stories are legion of people. What kind of car I drive? It's always the same thing. 2016 Subaru's got 45,000 miles on it. I'm going to drive this till I'm dead. I hear that all the time from people in Oregon. Friggin' Ford F-150, from 2008. It's got 185,000 miles on it. I'm going to drive it till I'm dead. 2008 VW Jetta diesel has already got 300,000 miles on it. It'll have another 300,000 miles on it. And it's the same freaking thing. All right, my man John says he's got 240. I wish you guys would not put your full names on here. Please don't do that if you're going to be giving personal information. We don't know who the hell's out there. Anyway, so we got $1 million in 401k. He's got 240 in income. We're both saving. Should we do Roth conversions for the next 5 years? I wouldn't. No way, no how, man. No, I would not be doing Roth conversions if I'm in that kind of making that kind of scratch. Remember, if you're making 240, we know for a fact, not 7.65, but 6.2. Your first 130,000, you're paying 6.2 on, and the entirety you're paying 2.45. All right, so we know for a fact you're paying 2.45 on the 240. And we know that you're paying 6.2 on the first 130. Those taxes will go away immediately once you retire, once you no longer have an income stream. State income tax, by and large, will go away as well. I was talking to these people in California the other day. They're going to make good money in retirement, but their tax rates are going to go very, very low. Most states don't tax Social Security. So even the Fed taxes, for the most part, it depends on how you do this, but they're still only 85% of your Social Security is subject to taxation. And if you live in a state that doesn't tax Social Security, that means most of your Social Security is not being taxed from the state and the federal perspective. And you're not getting Social Security right now. You're only making your income, which is all taxes as income, as ordinary income. And then a good amount of that, all of it's taxes, Medicare, the OASDI, HI, hospital insurance part, and 6.2% of your first 130. Well, I guess 140 is being subject to taxation. What do I think of the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and referring to it? I think what it's like saying what I think the future for my Walter Payton rookie card. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that's literally that simple. It's a pure speculative entity, and that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means the idea that there's some kind of solid premise of it. There just isn't, man. It's it's going to sound bad. It's a greater fool theory, and I know everyone says, "Oh, you think I'm a fool for buying it?" No. The point is, we want there to be a greater fool who will buy it from you for more. And I just go back to saying the first transaction with Bitcoin was in 2009 or 10, I can't remember. The dude bought two pizza pies. He paid 400 Bitcoin for that, or 400. I can't remember what it was, but it's equivalent today of $400 million. He bought two pizza pies that 12 years later cost him $400 million. Now, I guarantee that guy still got tons of Bitcoin, so he's probably doing fine. But that's why it's not going to replace the currency, man. It's nuts to think, oh, the dollar's deflating. The dollar's deflating at a slow and steady pace. This year is going to be bad. The next year is going to be bad. But by and large, it deflates at a slow and steady pace. You can't have a currency that's going like this. You just can't. It's not going to replace the currency. I think most even Bitcoin proponents would argue that's true now. They don't argue it. They used to say it's going to replace the dollar because the inflation. The dollar is down 92% since 1913. Oh God, how I hate that argument. So the same dollar you're buying in 1913, it couldn't even buy you a telephone. Never mind a cell phone. It's just the whole thing stupid, man. It's not the same economy. It's just such a stupid argument. I hate that. I hate it. It's idiotic to say, oh, the dollar's worth only 98 cents on what it was in 1913. Yeah, well, guess what? It's a hell of a lot different now than it was in 1913, in case you didn't see. Not my man Greg Thames here. But Bitcoin is based on nothing but speculative entities. And the minute speculative entities turn south, everyone goes kaput. Now, will it go back? I have no idea. But you don't use it as a retirement plan. I mean, look, I got a guy who's up to freaking probably $3 million in Bitcoin. It's probably not 3 million, 2 million. He bought it when it was at, what did he pay for it? He put $64,000 in it when it was at $7,000 or something. I can't remember what he did. But I think he bought 64,000 Bitcoin. He put $64,000 into it. I think like 2017 or 18 when it was at, I think $7,000, something like that. Now that 64,000 is worth over $2 million. It's nuts. And I remember talking to him. I said, man, I hope you took some gains off the table because, when I first talked to him back in March of last year, March of this year, it was worth $2 million. And then when I talked to him again, it was worth $800,000. And I said, man, you got to take some gains. Well, too late now, I guess. But anyway, I still take gains because you're still way up. And he goes, no, it'll come back. And he's right. It's going to come back until it doesn't. And look, I could look like the biggest idiot there is. That's fine. My Walter Payton rookie card might pay me might be able to buy me a McMansion. I get it. But the only reason my Walter Payton rookie card would be able to buy me a McMansion is because someone believes or they want it so much they're willing to pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. And I don't think that'll ever happen. I just don't. So if Bitcoin isn't going to be tradable like a currency, which it won't be, I mean, just silly. How much, again, those pizzas that guy bought are worth $400 million today. No, it's stupid. If Bitcoin isn't going to be reliable, so Bitcoin has to be steady in order to be traded like a currency. And it can't just be steady for a couple of months. It's got to be steady for years. So let's think this through a little bit. Bitcoin is steady for 5 years. What actually happens to the price when Bitcoin does not jump up to 3 years from now? We'll say Bitcoin's still at 55,000. How many people at that point are going to be like hopping on the Bitcoin bandwagon? None. Because the whole point was they want to hop on it because they're thinking it's going to go to 150, 500. And when it just stays stagnant like that, people are like, all right, I guess it's, that's the problem with Bitcoin success. It created its own success. And so as such, people want to see it continue on that. When it doesn't happen, they're going to get bored and they're going to sell it to move on to the next big thing. You can see this a mile away, man. And so the problem with Bitcoin, to really take over as a currency, it has to be stable. And the problem with stability isn't sexy. No one wants stability, so I don't want it anymore. Let's see that's my way. Now, I might absolutely be wrong, man. And if I am, hey, I'll be happy to say it. But I'm not buying it. I'm not touching any of that crypto with a 10-foot pole. But you don't understand it. I understand what people do, man. What people do. They're buying on speculative assets. It's speculative. And you can make a ton of money on speculation. You can also go bankrupt too. Yeah, I saw the car drove through there. Do we have any people? It's like some drunken fool, some bad person. What do we got there? Yeah, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the one state in the union, to include even West Virginia, if memory serves, where every single county went Trumpster. Every single county. You must be new here, condo guy. You assume the ballot counts are accurate. I don't assume that at all, man. So I'm going to assume you're new, because if you, one of the strikes I got on my channel back in last year was doing videos of saying, let's put it this way, Fulton County was very fair and clean. Cleanest election ever. My vote did count. It counted for Biden, but my vote did count. My man says, come January, I'll get a 3% raise. I can retire anytime. I get a 70% pension. Should be close to 100 grand then. 55 years, and I'll get another job and go work until 62. Right on. Larry V. Says 23 weeks to retirement. Salute you, sir. We got another Maynard. Hey, Maynard, Texas. Who's that? That's a new one. Not familiar with Maynard, Texas. What website that was? Jeremy says that was the Politico. Here, I'll put a link here. Jeremy says, what website am I using for the voter numbers? That was a Politico whatever it was, and it's just Georgia. So I'm sure you can look at Maine and all the other stuff if you want, Jeremy. Yeah, I saw that FBI just raided school mom's house in Colorado. Yeah, no, I tell you, man, it's I posted that earlier today on my YouTube channel. The conservative treehouse had written about that, and these aren't our friends anymore. I'm sorry. And my man Sundance over the conservative treehouse says, look, at the end of the day, we're gonna have to call a spade, and the FBI is just not our friends. And I know people who work in U.S. Marshals, who work in FBI, work in Border Patrol. All these guys are freaking the most righteous people in the world, and it's wonderful. But the problem is their organization, not the Border Patrol, not the U.S. Marshals. I'm talking about FBI and CIA. The organization is corrupt, man. And I tell you, I never would have thought I would be Frank Church was right. And if you're not familiar with Frank Church from Idaho, you need to be the Church Commission, and we need to bring that back. And Republicans would be well advised to stop this freaking just, back the blue under all circumstances, back the prosecution under all circumstances, back the FBI or the military. The Republicans would be well advised to recognize that there are some evil people, even on the right side of the equation, that we think are the right side, who are statist totalitarians as well. They just happen to wear badges. They just happen to be in the military. It doesn't mean they're freaking. It doesn't mean just because they're in the freaking army that they're heroes. Hell no. Have we not learned that with doctors and nurses last year? You think just because they got a white lab coat, they're heroes? Hell no. And that goes for every industry. I don't care. I mean, oh my goodness. So you're doubting our patriots? No, I'm not doubting the patriots. I'm doubting the freaking totalitarians who are occupying in bigger numbers the military, the FBI, the CIA, and the police force. If you can't see it, I don't know what to tell you. Unsubscribe. I just don't care. The idea that all cops are freaking ACAB is stupid. The idea that all cops are heroes, ACA, that's stupid too, man. It's just not true. It's not true. And this is why the libertarian in me still is still strong, because I don't want the freaking cops to be able to bust down some house because of a school protest. That's freaking insanity. And that's coming from the federal government. I don't want the FBI to be able to go after James O'Keefe because he's got Sniffy Joe's daughter diary, which we all, I'm telling you, I said this last week too. I was bartending in DC, and right outside DC, right in Arlington, 2000 Clarendon Boulevard in Arlington, Virginia, right over the Key Bridge. I was bartending. Lots of congressional people would come to the bar, and lots of congressional people, many of them which are right wing, would spill beans that was bad across all political things. We all knew Joe Biden's family was corrupt and drug addicts since from going back to early 1990s. Everybody knew this crap. Everybody did. They were just able to keep it under wraps. But there are other people that will go nameless that had big problems with their own staff who are considered right-wing Republicans as well. Let's put it this way. The reason why the war on drugs needs to be ending, because they'll never go after the people who need to be going to jail, which is the rich, mostly white people, the Hunter Bidens of the world. But trust me, there's lots of Republicans smoking dope, doing cocaine, and shooting heroin as well, and their children. Until we go after those people, we're always going to lose the war on drugs, because there'll always be a demand. If there's always a demand, there's always going to be a supply. So unless you go after the users, you're always going to have the freaking supply. What we try to do is we try to go after the supply, and that's such a freaking recipe for disaster. We've always known Joe Biden is a crook. We've always known that. Lots of people on Capitol Hill are crooks, selling dope, selling cocaine, selling heroin, and they happen to work for your government as well. And to think otherwise is crazy. I used to think it was insane, the idea that the CIA would have crack cocaine in black neighborhoods. I don't think so anymore. I'm agnostic about that. I used to think that was insane propaganda, to think the CIA would put crack cocaine in black neighborhoods back in the 80s. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't trust any of them anymore. And if you do, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. Have you not seen what's happening these last 5 years with the CIA, with the FBI? I tell you, once you wake up, you can't unsee anymore. You're like, holy crap. Everything I thought, it was just wrong. Everything. Like the idea we should have a draft. Hell no. After what we've seen these last 5 years, from me at least, maybe you're still on the straight and narrow, like, oh, the Republicans are good and the Democrats are bad and the FBI is good and I don't know, the freaking EPA is bad and all this. Or the big corporations are good, the government is bad. I don't think any of that anymore. It's crazy. It's crazy what a couple of years of lockdown can do. And then the election of last year as well. All right. Ken says, when you look at retirement, no payroll deductions goes hand in hand with a mortgage when you're figuring your income needs. When you look at retirement, no payroll deductions goes hand in hand with the mortgage. I think what he's saying is because when you're looking at retirement, you no longer have FICA, 401k contributions, state and local income tax, federal income tax, and then not having a mortgage, 100%. So basically that means you're going to spend a hell of a lot less in retirement than you do when you're working 100%. Bellingham, Washington. Hey, right on. Greg's in Bellingham, man. I flipping love Bellingham. Except it's too. My man Greg is tell me it's not as dreary as what everyone says it is. I think they say that to keep us away, but Bellingham's fantastic. I love Bellingham. It's like a walkable city, hippie, a lot of libs, but they were pretty cool. When Chloe and I were there, everyone seemed fine. Little kids walking around. It was remind me of Maine, except not as cold. Just dreary, it looks like. All right. So my man says, in the homesteading thing, there are wildlife and ag exemptions if you own at least 10 acres. Very low taxes, even in some high tax states. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's why John Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen have lots of land that they're supposed to be using for agriculture, so they don't have to pay property taxes on their land. And that's the like Oklahoma. Still, look, I tell you, man, Oklahoma. I tell you, 294 in Oklahoma, the reddest of the red states. I'm predicting, Ted. My man Ted says, the future equities were no. I'm predicting 6.5 nominal. All right. And actually, so Vanguard has 6 this last run round. They said 6. But they also have inflation only at 1.25. And I can't go that low. So I have 6.5 nominal. So, I mean, that's for stocks. All right. So bonds, I have 2% nominal, and cash, I get 1/2 1%. So 6.5% nominal, 2% inflation. All right, that gives you 4.5% nominal, a real return, 4.5 real. I'm pretty comfortable with that, actually. And the way you get that is pretty simple. You take your current dividend yield and you take your earnings growth projections. Current dividend yield is 2. I think 4.5% earnings growth year over year over some 5 to 10 year time frame absolutely makes sense to me, given high inflation, high cost of energy. I don't even think inflation. Let me just share with you. I was going to do a video on it, just forgot. I want to share with you this right here. I do not think inflation is going to be here to stay. It's going to be here for the next 3 years. I 100% grant you. Hyped inflation versus the coming global demographic vortex. I 100% agree with this. I think what's happening here is we got a short-term hit on inflation because of Sniffy Joe just destroying economic growth. You destroy economic growth by making energy prices high. There's no other way around that. And this guy is such a freaking clown. Look, it's not even Sniffy Joe. It's all the clowns that run DC. And this is some of the Republicans too. Matt Gaetz, remember that clown? He's like, yeah, well, climate change is a winning political issue for us on the right. You freaking fool. That's what Boris Johnson is saying. And he's at COP26, as was freaking Scott Morrison in Australia. You freaking idiots. I don't want any Republican. It used to be. So we've won the battle on gun rights. So no Republican in his right mind is ever going to sit there and say, we're going to, basically regulate handguns, or never mind. Just no Republican's going to do that. We've won that. 25 years ago wasn't always like that. All right, 25 years ago, I'm telling you right now, if you're new to this game, there's a man named Wayne LaPierre who said, I believe Clinton, this is 1998, wants a certain level of bloodshed in order to pass his gun control legislation. And all the Republicans like, holy crap, I can't believe they said the president wants people to die. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and yet freaking Republican after Republican saying, oh, no, yeah, but oh, my goodness, we probably do need some common sense gun control because this after Columbine. And anyway, somehow the Republican base was able to freaking stick it to the stupid idiots that run the Republican Party, said, don't ever talk about gun control again. And we won that, thankfully. Abortion, we've won for the Republicans. We haven't won for the world or the country, but we're getting there, actually, slowly but surely. The good guys are winning that fight. The Republican Party, by and large, was trying to be a middle of the Christine Todd Whitman types. They're gone now. We don't want them. They go to where the big status, kill baby lobby and the Democrats. By all means, go join Planned Parenthood, Christine Todd Whitman, and you fools out there. And who's the lady from? She ran in 2016 against Trump. He called her horseface. I forgot her name. Then there was Meg Whitman. Remember her? She ran for Senate in California. People are idiots, man. So the Republican Party has won that. So we are pro Second Amendment, anti-abortion. But you're going to have some clowns. By and large, the base is 100% in that regard. It's not even debatable, frankly, anymore. Now, the problem is now we're on the thing to climate change. And so basically my two things used to be, if a Republican is hesitant to talk about expansion of gun rights, I don't just want gun rights arrested the draconian measures of taking away my rights to own firearms. I want expansion of gun rights, expansion of the Second Amendment. And if a Republican got squeamish about that, I'm not touching that guy with a 10-foot pole. It used to be all along those lines. Same thing with abortion too. If the Republican had any kind of squeamishness, like, I said, no, I'm not touching the 10-foot pole, because I knew they knew their political. They had it in their guts about being political geniuses. That it wasn't just because they're doing like this, which way is the wind blowing. They knew the politics were ingrained into being pro Second Amendment, anti-abortion, and I knew that. Now it's like that with climate change. A Republican who sits on the bench with Nancy Pelosi, a la Newt Gingrich, and says climate change is a problem, man-made AGW. Screw that guy. Screw Newt Gingrich. Screw them all. They're putting their finger in the wind, and they're saying, which way is the wind blowing? They're saying, well, all the media and all the kids are scared of climate change, so we better get with the kids. You don't want to touch a Republican with a 10-foot pole who's afraid to talk about climate change. I'm telling you right now, you don't want that guy, because then you're going to be left with Boris Johnson and you're going to be left with Scott Morrison. And what is going on in those two countries? The totalitarian, by Austria, right-wing Republicans, well, not Republicans, right-wing conservatives run the states, the country. Totalitarianism is taking over these places because those people in charge don't have a spine. They're wishy. They're wishy-washy. They were like, which way is the media telling me? I'm telling you. So you got, and the way to do this now is to see, hey, who's standing up against the climate change Nazis? Because that's what these people are. They're freaking Nazis, man. They want you in jail if you don't bow down to their God. And their God isn't clean environment or getting energy to poor people. Their God is the sun and wind industry. That's how they get paid. Has nothing to do with clean environment. Has all to do with the industry is so damn corrupt, and they get paid big bucks in that. That's just a fact. All right, so here's my man. Most central banks are increasingly convinced high inflation rates might not be so transient after all, which is why the tightening cycle has now begun. Freaking idiotic. This is, you tighten to, they think Paul Volcker tightening was led to the beating inflation in 1982. I cannot believe how idiotic these people are. And again, I was watching my man Young Ripa today. He doesn't get it. I love Young Ripa, Eric July. He thinks the government spending is what led to inflation right now. Then tell me, Eric, what was the government spending before? Where was the inflation? Because it's not like the government just started spending like drunken sailors, man. Or excuse me, my Navy brothers and sisters, drunken infantrymen. They've been spending like drunken infantrymen since 1960s. So why now is inflation kicking in? Because it isn't government spending. It's high energy costs. That's what's causing this. And supply chain disruptions, which kind of go hand in hand. Supply chain disruptions can be quickly rebutted just with some simple basic recognizing, hey, we got to get, put the right pieces in place. And it'll happen on its own, not by Washington, D.C. High energy costs will go down and go down and go down for a long, long time. In terms of the production line. And that's going to be, we're going to be dealing with inflation until they allow for freaking pipelines, until they stop this anti-coal craziness, anti-natural gas craziness, until they stop and they allow the freaking drilling, allow the coal, allow the pipelines, allow the natural gas to be used abundantly like it should be, it's going to continue on. But ultimately that will happen. Because I was reading my man today, hold on just a second, as this is kind of funny. My man today was saying, I thought this was a good, right, hold on just a second. Build back better. Build back better. When the cost hit home, nobody will give up on fossil fuels. 100% right. When the cost hit home, you'll be using fossil fuels. Because you're saying, holy crap, not only is this is expensive, I'm freezing my freaking tush off. All right, so let's just read this. So fossil fuels will be here without question, and they'll be open backed up. The question is when. It could be a couple of years. But amid the current inflation panic, a couple guys remind us that the demographic headwinds facing the major economies are intensifying, especially with people dropping out of the workforce. In the long term, demographics will be a big shock to the central bank's hope of higher inflation rates. I cannot stress this enough. It's worth noting. It's worth reminding oneself. The secular demographics are set to reach maximum deflationary pressure in the decade ahead. This is in stark contrast to the 1970s when demographic trends underpinned the then inflationary surge. The demographic vortex, all economies are suffering from aging demographics. An economy gets a boost from the 25 to 54-year-old cohort and suffers a drag from the 65 plus. And this goes back to your specific retirement planning, my friends. Why? Because older people don't consume as much. That means their spending goes down. Now, idiots will say that's their spending goes down because they ran out of money. And yet you freaking survey these people and they don't say they ran out of money. They don't say that. They say they're great. Their retirement's fine. Their retirement's good. Some say it's great. So they're not running out of money. So what happens? They get old. They stop spending money. So stop using a 4% adjusted for inflation each every year in your retirement plan. An economy gets a boost from the young people, 25 to 54, the target audience for ads, by the way, and suffers a drag from the older people because older people don't spend as much. This is crazy. Older populations correlated to lower growth and lower inflation. With major economies already stuck at the zero-bound, fiscal and monetary authorities will have to contemplate negative interest rates or continued debt fiscal financing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what interest rates you have. When people aren't borrowing, high interest rates, low interest rates don't mean crap. It doesn't mean crap. High interest rates will hurt businesses, which are going to hurt growth, I grant you. But in terms of consumer balance sheet, this is what happened in Japan, balance sheet recession. Businesses and consumers says, I don't give two craps what your interest rates are, Japanese bank. I'm not borrowing. So kiss my big fat behind. I'm not going to borrow your stupid money. And they're like, well, but we lowered interest rates. There should be a huge demand for loans. And that way it creates this freaking velocity of economy, a dollar in the economy or the yen, this velocity, and that will create inflation. Yeah, it didn't happen. You know why? Because inflation isn't based on your stupid interest rate model. Yeah. A rising tide lifts all boats. An economy receives a significant boost for a younger population. Prime age workers buy more homes, vehicles, and durable goods, which boosts production. Conversely, an economy feels a drag when older population comprises a larger share of the total population, particularly as modern economies are structured through heavy transfer payments in traditional retirement years. The older population rapidly slows consumption, downsizes, and is more able to leave the labor force supported through Medicare and Social Security. The next 10 to 15 years will bring a significant demographic drag, not only in Japan, which is the poster child for an aging population, but all of Europe, the UK, China, and the US. The global demographic vortex will act as a vacuum, sucking resources from the prime age workers through taxation or debt finance transfers, forcing central banks to hold rates at zero bound or quickly return after another failed attempt to combat rising inflation. We can see the aging demographic across all major economies of the world. The 65-year-old group as a percentage of the total population is rising. All right, charted inversely. All right, so 65 as a percentage of, let's see if we can bring this up here. I can't hardly see that. All right, there we go. All right, so here's Japan right here. Look at this. 27.5% in Japan is over the age of 65 right now. In 2035, about a third of the people in Japan will be over the age of 65. Here's United States, 20% of the people will be over the age of 65 in the US. Here's China, same thing. Look at this. Dude, we're doomed in that regard. This is why the Beartaria Times is so great, because have babies. Have babies. That's what we're saying. No one's having more babies than those of us on Beartaria Times have. Our average birth rate per woman is probably 4. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just a medium-sized family in Beartaria because I have 4 kids. Very, very few people are only having 1, unless they can't or whatever. But most people are putting them out, which is what we want. Babies. The future belongs to those who show up. Anyway, point being is total return on equity is going back to 6.5. Absolutely. No growth. I mean, you'll get a little bit of growth, but it won't be much. All right. 100%. Rick says, I only live in counties that Republicans won at least by 60-40. Yeah. No, it wasn't all fine. My vote counted. It just counted for Biden. Man, Carl, I do so many single people's plans. Have you not heard of Scott Single Susie, Donna? I do so many single people. You all single people always say that. It's the weirdest thing, man. I get this every time. It's like, do more single people. I got freaking single people up the wazoo, man. It's like you guys are looking to be offended. And I like Carl, but it's like you guys are perpetually in this offended mode. Like, oh my goodness, you're not doing enough single people. I got single Susie, Scott Single, Donna. Got single people all over the place, man. Crazy. I don't know how Austria just elected the first ever communist mayor when Austria is a country. So there's a live stream on Rumble. It's on there. What are you talking about, Jeremy? Should be on there. It was on there. Yeah. I see him watching right now. I just comment, yo. Oh, yeah, where they put it on my, I think I put it on the wrong channel. I put it on my Josh Scanlon channel. I did not put it on my, I screwed that up. So it's my fault. We'll get there, man. What are your thoughts on Candace Taylor for governor of Georgia? Yeah, I don't know who that is. I'm not sure. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Scientifically, women can't pair bond well after 6 partners. Can't pair bond. I don't get it. I don't think it was a bipolar worm. Yeah, saw that. Did a video on it, Brad. Social Security, 14.5% of Medicare. But don't forget, last year it didn't go up. I don't think it went up at all. So basically, that's 2 years combined. That's what that was. The Mouse Utopia experiment, says Carl. That'll blow your mind. Just checked in the Social Security website. Due to Irma and the increase in Medicare costs, my wife and my combined Social Security receipts will decrease $3,100 next year. Due to Irma and the increase in Medicare. Okay, gotcha. So basically, your Social Security will go down by $3,100 because of Irma and the increase in Medicare Part B. Do I like Vanguard tips for retiree excess cash? Yeah, I got no problem with tips. Not at all. Absolutely. Craig says, do I agree that HSA is an yes, 100%. So Craig's saying, his stating basically by a question, but he's saying HSA is an underutilized investment vehicle that most folks don't use their full potential. 100%, Craig. I tell everybody I work with, I said, man, don't ever touch that HSA. Fund that sucker. Let that sucker grow tax deferred. And as you're getting a deduction today, and then tax free in the future when you're in your 80s. 100%. Don't. My better half, she has an HSA card. I say, oh, stop. Just let that grow tax free, man. Yeah, HSA is way underutilized. Completely agree. Yeah, it's not going to be the last year for Roth in general. There's no evidence of that at all. I haven't seen anything that says they're getting rid of the Roth. It makes my head hurt just thinking about that. My husband is at St. Lucian and I'm at Canadian. How do we file? I don't know what St. Lucian is. Oh, is a St. Lucian? I don't even know what that is. Sorry. St. Louis? All right, my man Sticks Future. Can I leave profits to my S Corp in the business and use it to buy my primary residence to avoid the 10%, the 50% tax on dividend payout? Oh my goodness, dude. You think by buying your primary residence you're going to avoid paying taxes on your dividend? First of all, this is where, all right, so my man's got an S corporation. So flow through entity. It goes back to his bottom line. That's what happens here with these S corps. A pass through entity, if you will. All right, so he's going to declare income either via just good old fashioned. He's going to pay himself, which is as a salary, which is subject to Social Security on both sides. And it sounds like he's probably trying to do that. He's trying to avoid doing that, so he wants to pay himself a dividend instead because dividends are taxed less than payroll. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. I can't tell you how many people do that. And when they wake up and they're not getting crap for Social Security, they get pissed. Well, you didn't pay into it. I can't look. I used to be in banking. I dealt with all kinds of small business owners, and I know all the tricks of the trade. And if you think I know them and the IRS doesn't, you're crazy. The IRS knows when you're declaring yourself as a dividend as opposed to a salary. The IRS knows you're doing it to avoid the payroll tax. And the irony is, you're only hurting yourself, man. And so this guy is saying, I don't know what he's doing. I frankly don't care that much, but he's saying, hey, I'm going to avoid the payroll tax. So I'm going to give myself a dividend because it's a profit. All right. And he's got to pay tax on it because he made a profit. But then he's saying he's going to buy a primary residence in that residence and he's going to avoid the taxes on that. Come on. Why? I don't get why. Just pay the tax. I don't understand. What's so hard, man? Just pay the freaking tax. Jeez. It's because he wants to buy a house He thinks the IRS is like, yeah, man, you made a profit, but because you're buying a house, you don't have to pay the tax. I mean, just think about this. I mean, could you do that? I don't, maybe. I highly suspect you can't. But why would you even go down the road of that? Ah, has no one ever been audited around here? It's nuts to me, man. Look, give to Caesar what's Caesar's and give to God what's God's. I don't understand people's like, I'm trying to avoid every penny of taxes because I'm like, man, we all gotta pay tax. The reason you pay tax, you made some money. But anyway, the first thing I heard when he said I'm taxing myself as a 15% dividend. So remember, he's taxed himself only at 15% dividend. It already gives you a kind of an indication where his income is. So that income, I guarantee a good amount is not being taxed as payroll, which in my opinion is the wrong answer. I don't hear any of you business owners when you're 65 years old and only making $1,300 a month on Social Security griping that Social Security robbed you when you didn't pay into it. I don't want to hear that because that drives me up the wall. I hear that all the time. Well, I don't hear it all the time. I don't, but I have heard it when I was in banking, and I was sitting there thinking, man, you don't even know what you're doing. It's like buy term and invest the rest. It works if you buy term and invest the rest. The vast majority of people don't invest the rest. All right. All Wellington tax deferred, Roth 80% with BTI. Yeah, works for me, man. So my man Vaughn's got his Roth is 80% of the total stock index and 20% in the value index. I got no problem with that. We got another shock from Social Security. Part B starting in December, going up from whoa. What? Part B starting December is going from 135 to 238. Oh, all right, that's a quarter. All right, so you're paying 238 a quarter for Part B? Nah, that doesn't. No, I don't buy that. That doesn't. If you're paying 238 a quarter and you're griping, that's only 60. That's you got to be talking. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking Part D? That's not Part B, man. If you're only paying 238 a quarter for Part B, I would say thank you IRS and or CMS and walk away. All right. I lost my job. My wife quit her job. We both rolled our 401ks to a Fidelity IRA. Do we make the right decision? I mean, no, normally yes, but if you're at the age, if you could have left your money in your 401k post being let's put it this way: if you're 55 or older and you leave your work as a 55-year-old older and you keep your employer-sponsored 401k plan, you have access to that money. Sans penalty. Sans is French for us French speakers. Us Haitians. I'm Haitian. In Haiti, we say sans. That means without penalty. So anyway, if you kept that money in your Fidelity in your 401k, not Fidelity 401k, but whatever your 401k was, and you're over 54 years old and you quit your job, separated from service after you're 55 or older, then you could have had access to that 401k money without a penalty. And if that is true, and you need that money, then no, you did a bad thing because now you can't have access to the IRA money without that penalty. So, did you do a bad thing or a good thing? Well, it depends on your age and if you're going to need access to the money. If you need access to the money, you screwed yourself. So, no two ways around. They're right on. It depends. All right. What happens at tax time? Oh, we talked about this. All right, cool. Yeah, right here. Here's my man Harry. Right on, Harry. You got it. 2013 Hyundai Elantra, 2013 RAV4. Oh, by the way, I'm getting a lot of voicemails lately. I don't check my voicemails. I don't. I got freaking, I don't know, I must got just 5 in the last 2 days, and I just don't check them. So don't leave voicemails. Please email me. I check my emails religiously. So email me, but voicemails, they just pile up and it takes up space. So I don't check them. Then I just go through and I delete them. So if you call me, I don't check voicemail. Email me. That's why email always works. 2012 Camry right here, right on. Harry, don't be picking on Marie. She's good. She's good. Right on. Cool. There you go. You're the right man. The right man. 2019 Honda Passport, pay cash. I salute you. Look at that dog. That dog's awesome. 2006 Corolla with 200. Look at my man Jeremy. He's even up in Maine with a salt eating away his freaking his the undercoat. Look at that. 2006 Corolla with 270,000 miles. He paid 2,500 for it in 2019. I salute you, Jeremy. The CMP going nuts because they lost that vote. The millionaire next door drives older used cars and trucks. 100%. 100%. I see it with my own eyes every day. Dari says, I got a 2004 Nissan with barely 100,000. Keep the oil changed and maintenance runs great. Life's good. I cannot agree more. You don't do Roth conversions until after you retire. Have 100%, John. Look, that's not the case for everybody, but generally speaking, that's the case. Don't do Roth conversions until after you retire, or if the markets take a big dump like they did last year. But I was an idiot. I didn't do it, even though I was telling everybody to do it. I should have done it. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Making too much income. This year I made even more income. And this year I said, I'm going to do it. So I did 50,000 Roth conversion. It's going to hurt me big time tax wise. That was I'm glad I did it because I have the cash flow to pay the stupid taxes. But man, that sucks, dude. Because you want to pay the tax when you got the cash flow. That's what I'm trying to say. But with that said, don't make it painful. And this is the problem with me is I'm not impatient, impulsive. So I wake up with a freaking hair, you know what I'm talking about. I just said, I'm going to do my Roth conversion. I'm going to get them all done this year. No, and I got a third of them done. And I've still got more in my traditional. And I just I should have just done it last year. Should have done it last year. Freaking idiot. But I didn't do it last year because what if the markets, the whole point, what if the markets fall and I convert whatever I had in my IRA, I can be taxed on that money. Now I'm down even lower. Stupid. Hey, where's my man Mike? Ties 10%. Rumors we can convert that same. One second. Rumors we can convert that same percentage from a traditional IRA to a Roth. Thoughts? I'm not. I guess because you're thinking you can write that 10% off and so you get a tax-free conversion. It doesn't work like that. I'm not sure what you're saying actually. So you can convert. Absolutely. It's not debatable. But I'm not sure what you're saying. If you can convert the 10%, the 10% you tie to your church will offset the 10% Roth conversion. It doesn't work like that. If you can afford to lose your own investment, I agree with that. If you can afford to lose it, go. I got no problem with that at all. It's like if you can afford to lose, on a baseball card collection, on anything. It's that's the way you should. Literally, your speculative money, you should go to Las Vegas. People make money going to Las Vegas. Other than card counting, you're not doing it routinely, but people do walk out of Vegas with money. That's just a fact. But hopefully, they went in there ready to lose all that money. All right. Look at that. I drive a 2004 Nissan Titan. Wife drives 2013 Nissan Altima. I'm 54 and been retired 4 months. Yeah, right on, man. If I had 3 million, if I had 3 million Bitcoin, I would sell and put the gains in the money market. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Speculative investments are way overvalued in this risk-on market. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have the elite having their inflated assets. They're looking to park money someplace. So I can't do it in bonds. They're doing it in real estate. They're doing it in these other speculative assets. You can see that a mile away. They're just doing it because they got all this extra money. They're saying, I got this money. What do I do with it? Might as well put some in Bitcoin. Might as well put some in real estate. Might as well buy some farmland. Might as well, buy myself a 5 Teslas so I can show everybody how clean and green I am. Brad's talking about what happened in Wisconsin. 20 people hurt bad. That sucks, man. Yeah, Colorado, Kenosha, Wisconsin, man. Oh, no way. That thing happened with Kenosha? So some scumbag drove into a church in Kenosha? Dude, I'm against that. I'm against the death penalty, but sometimes you just want to bring it back to string somebody up to make a lesson, but I can't do that. Come on, Jeff. We know how this happened. But with that said, I was talking to one of my kids today, my oldest, and I say, with that said, if you look at, I think it was Macomb County, Michigan, I think it was, maybe it was a county in Michigan in 2016. And it wasn't shenanigans, it was just ineptitude. And if I were Hillary, I would have been pissed too. I was like, because there's some, it wasn't shenanigans like we had in Fulton County, Georgia. It's just, it's, we just, our voting system isn't working. It's not working. That doesn't mean I want the federal government to take over, but the facts are that what happened in Michigan and a couple of these counties that, and Trump, remember, Trump only won by 50,000 votes. Biden and Sniffy Joe only won by 50,000 votes. We even go back to Bush against Kerry. Bush only won by 60,000 votes. We haven't had a, basically other than McCain getting smoked, thankfully, by what's his name? And then Romney, that was closer, but, that wasn't really debatable who won that. But Al Gore and Bush, 200 votes. Bush against Kerry, 66,000 votes. Trump against Hillary, 50,000 votes. Sniffy, 20,000 votes or something like that. That's it, man. Also takes a couple counties to get jacked up and the whole world changes. It's literally that simple. It's nuts. And point being is there's a couple counties I was watching videos in 2016 in Michigan. You're like, because I was doing all this research after last year's election. I said, whoa, a lot of the same stuff was going on, but it turned out to be anti-Hillary. It wasn't, again, but that wasn't shenanigans like what happened here in Fulton County. But if that was my candidate, I would have said, wait a second, man, this wasn't a legit account here. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but there's videos, saying some county two counties up in Michigan, they're pretty mid range that went for Trump that were not thought to. And they were like, it's just almost like they were, what's the word I'm looking for? They were so cocky that Hillary's going to win. They didn't play the game, which in this case they did this year. And so they took back what was theirs, if you know what I'm saying. Local news said one dead and he had older lady dance group, young kids dance group. Bodies are flying based on speed. Let's blame Stephen King, because remember, Stephen King always blames gun owners and white supremacists for everything that happens, all over the place. Stephen King has a book on this where a bad guy drove into a group of people going to seek work. Basically they're lined up to go to a job fair, and a guy drove into these people. Oh, by the way, Columbine. Stephen King had wrote a short story called Apt Pupil, where a kid goes, this is back in the 70s or early 80s, a kid goes and shoots up his school. So let's blame Stephen King. Let's make sure Stephen King can never own a firearm again, because obviously he's up to no good with his stories that are leading people to commit horrible, horrible crimes. If they're going to blame us, if they're going to blame the NRA, which I'm a life member, I'm blaming Stephen King. So blame Stephen King. Hey, Loudoun County, Virginia. 6 months to retire, and that is Blue County. Right on, man. Retiring next year, says Bill. When they shut down my coal power plant, I've worked at 33 years. Oh, and we're all going to suffer for Bill not being there because the coal's going away, and we need the coal out in 6 weeks. I have been watching your asset location videos. That was the only thing I was really hesitant about. Thanks for your videos. I was been watching. Okay. All right on, Michael. I appreciate that. My man says really only 2.5 weeks of the holidays of vacation time. Out of here in 2 to 3 weeks. All right. Marie, multitasking. How dare you, Marie? 14th and K. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure inebriation. Inebriation. All right. I'm thinking of retiring from my teacher's job in June. We'll take a reduction of my pension though. Okay. There's tons of jobs, man. Tons and tons and tons and tons. How often doesn't, oh yeah, we were talking about that. My boss keeps asking if I'll change my mind and stay. I told her, like, Glenn Fry said, I'm already gone. Remember Glenn Fry from the Eagles? The Eagles. Yeah, me too, man. It's been shocked at how many people are not only okay, but they want it. They want the totalitarianism. They want it, which is crazy because they're all saying Trump's a fascist, a Nazi, but they want this stuff. The left is totalitarian to its true soul. The right just wants to get paid and have hot chicks. The left, they want control. They want you to bend the knee. Because they know with control comes money and hot chicks. The right, they don't care about that. They just want to be invited to the cool kid, because the right's a lot of geeks. Let's admit it. There are a lot of geeks on the right. They're like, I just want to be in the cool kids party. Can I be in the cool kids party? Oh, the cool kids party or the left? Okay. But I'm still, I still kind of don't like abortion. I still like gun rights, but okay, I'll pacify my feelings on this so I can be invited to the cool kids party. That's the right, man. You see them all over the place. Just watch my man Turtle Boy take down the guys in the Massachusetts GOP. I mean, these guys are just scoundrels, man. Scoundrels, and they're just all geeks who never got invited to any cool kid parties, and they're just like, they haven't never dug a ditch. You know what I'm saying? It's just the rich kids, man. These are the runs the political machines. Just the rich kids, but they don't have to take a stance. They just have to be, as long as they don't piss people off, they're always going to get ahead. That's the way it is when you got connections. Most of us aren't like that. Most of us say, no, I don't want your stupid party. I want to make sure I have a right to own a firearm and keep my kids safe. I don't want you to abort your child. I don't want to have children. I want to have lots of babies. I like babies. Babies are good. Babies are needed. Oh, by the way, I like to heat my house when it gets cold. I also like to get on an airplane every now and again and fly. And if you're anti-freaking CO2, then the first thing you should do is ban planes, you freaking idiots. Never mind never getting on them. And the funny thing is, these same fools, not only do they not ban airplanes, they still fly around. Freaking crazy ones. See, that's a problem. I can't stand the right. I despise the left. So I throw in the right because it's like that's our only win here. And the libertarians are stupid. So it's like you're screwed, man. You're like, I don't like you because I know you're fake and you just want to get rich and get the hot chicks. But these guys are evil. So it is literally it's not even the lesser of two evils. I don't think Republicans are. Well, I don't know, man. After what I've seen in Boris Johnson, Australia, and Austria, a lot of conservatives are evil. But it's still, the left is evil. The left will put a freaking bullet and put you up against the wall a la Che Guevara in 2 seconds flat. Che Guevara, all the black people love Che, which is odd because Che hated you, black people. I don't know why black people love Che. If they just only understood who this guy was. I was listening today, some clown from James Madison University. For some reason, he was able to post on James Madison University's website because he's black. And people know what it's like to be black in America. All the same old crap. I'm like, dude, shut the hell up. No one cares. God, you sound like such a baby. You sound like such a baby. Like he needs white people to understand how hard it is to be black. I'm like, no. Just shut up. But he said Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 of his black brothers, his black loving brothers. I was like, these guys are just dumb. They're just dumb people. They're not smart. I mean, they think they're smart, but they're dumb. And yet these are our political leaders because they're Democrats. Oh, here's a black guy who's saying how hard it is to be black. We got to give him, well, we got to make him king of University of Virginia, whatever. And you're like, no. And he's just dumb. It's stupid. But no one's going to say that because they're afraid to be called racist. Yeah, if you're still afraid to be called racist in this day and age, go back to 1980s because it means nothing anymore. Anyway, the point being is like, dude, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. I hate to say it, but there was no black people that killed in Kyle Rittenhouse. There's a child. Listen, I don't even want to say the word, the R word, if you know what I'm saying, because YouTube will ban me. There is a convict, a child R, Not just one, if I understand, multiple child R's. He did it to multiple children. Children. Oh, by the way, did you hear about the university who had a pedo saying it's okay to be a map, something where you can be attracted to children, and he's like trying to make it acceptable. Yeah, it's evil, man. There's evil taking over, and we can try to. I just want to get along with evil. No, 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 no. That's not what you do. You beat evil. You beat them. And sometimes you got to get dirty to beat evil. That's what you got to do. And the way you get dirty is you go cancel these guys too. A lot of Republicans, I don't want to play cancel culture. Screw that. Cancel culture is here. It's like the war with the trade war with China. Well, we should have a trade war with China. It's already here, you freaking idiots. We're already in a trade war where we are just not participating, but they certainly are. It's like, I don't want to cancel culture. It's already here. It's already here. The way to stop the trade war, the way to stop the cancel culture, the way to stop the communist momentum is freaking peace through strength. Anyway. My man Brad sitting with zero debt. Yeah, look, if we're going to Congress to authorize a war, that's one thing. But some clown show, Bush or Clinton or whoever, Obama, even Trump, I don't. Hell no, no draft, no draft. My man's on vacation for 2 weeks, makes want to retire sooner, help his son finish his house, been driving his ATV and hunting. Tough life, Dan. Captain Kelly on the boat in Houston. I salute you, sir. What's going on down that way, Kelly, brother man? Don't tell Kelly that the dogs don't have feelings. Don't tell Kelly that. Let's just put it that way. You know, what's the point of dogs? Because they're your family. Yeah, it's funny. I won't share the story, but just oh man, one of my daughters is pissed when she learns that they sent a dog and a monkey up into space supposedly, and you know, never mind what Fauci was doing to beagles. It's weird how we get so pissed off what they do to dogs, but not nearly as pissed off what they do to human beings. But be that as it may, when you're given an opportunity, when you're given that hole in the line, your offense line opens this hole for you to take freaking 10 yards on 1st and 10, run through that hole. And if that means you got to say, hey, look, man, this is how bad Fauci is. He was financing the torture of beagles. If that's what it takes to get people to freaking wake up, hey, well, use it. Use all the tools at your discretion, man. I mean, Harry says, I've been busier in retirement than I was at work. That's awesome, man. I love that stuff. Climate change, total hope. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, don't forget to join. So in case you guys are new, I'll show you again how to go to my Rumble channel. So we go to, yeah. So I'm on I posted to the wrong Rumble thing. That was stupid. So we go to Rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. And we got my man Viva Frey and Robert Barnes up here, which I love these guys. I follow them on Locals. And I'll share with my Locals page here in just a second. Anyway, so we don't want videos, we want channels. And we go to Josh Scanlon. That's your old buddy Josh right there. And this is where I have my live stream tonight. I don't know why it's on there. I do know why. I didn't post it to the right channel. This is my normal channel, Finance and Freedom. Anyway, so you see there's no live stream here. And here's my other channel, and here's my live stream. And you can see, so what happens is, that's what I was going to say. Everything I post here, everything I post here goes to the other channel. I don't know how that works with Rumble. It's very, very interesting. But anyway, for some reason, so if I post something here, it automatically goes to here. But if I post something here, it does not automatically go to there. So I didn't put the live stream to the right channel, if that makes sense. So my mistake. Anyway, so what you'll see here, I got 10,999 rumbles. I don't know what that means. But anyway, so just subscribe, you know, I only got 389 subscribers there, but my other channel, I got 1,648 subscribers. And, you know, it's growing, not by leaps and bounds, but steady. You know, I haven't done that much like Sticks Hammer, alt tech videos yet. I just lately I just been into doing financial planning videos, actually, mostly answering questions, and I just post those on YouTube, and I'll post them a lot of times up on Rumble too. But I will, as the situation presents itself in 2022, I will be doing a lot of political stuff on Rumble as well, just because you can't do some of that stuff on YouTube. And then don't forget to follow me on Locals. And look, I love Locals. I'm a huge fan of it. And we go to, hold on just a second, and just go to joshscanlon.locals.com. And I post stuff 2 or 3 times a day on here. Like today, I posted, "Why did the flu disappear? It's odd to see people refusing to give up the ghost. Since all this has happened before, and even old Tony knew it. Fauci said pandemic flus such as H1N1 tend to push out seasonal flu strains. If we get deluged with H1N1 flu, there's a good chance it'll crowd out seasonal flu. So it wasn't because of stupid masks. It wasn't because of social distancing. It was because flus, which the COVID-19 is a what did he say? He said it's a worse than normal flu. I'm drawing a blank what he said, but anyway, he said the New England Journal of Medicine. I didn't say that's what this concept. So basically, the point being is flus drown out or crowd out, like we say in economics with government spending. Government spending crowds out private spending or private investment, and flus, the worst flus, crowd out the lesser ones, which is why there wasn't much flu last year. It had nothing to do with everyone's wearing masks. That's why we didn't have the flu. Oh, everyone's social distancing. That's weird because we still had the COVID-19. All right. And so anyway, right here, head of East Germany's largest clinic commits suicide over vaccine genocide. Ooh, did I just say that on this channel? Ooh. Anyway, so lots of good stuff here. Dollar is collapsing. Right here. Safe and effective. My man Alex Berenson. Another red flag about COVID, the Maxine Waters and death. How anyone right here, this how NASA lost the original moon landing footage. And the man who brought it back to life. Yeah, right, NASA. Just they literally what they did is they did not have enough space anymore on their tapes, whatever they're using, those 8-track tapes, whatever they're called. So they reuse them like we used to do back in old cassette tapes. You'd tape over something when you ran out of space, so the most I just can't make this stuff up. The most compelling feat in all of humankind's history, the moon landing. NASA basically taped over the tapes. And so some guy, and we've known this for quite some time now, and they didn't have them. So some guy was able to find other versions of the said tape, which no one knew existed until now, and recreate it with the new digital ways to do this to make it look so it's not so grainy. Man, if you believe that stuff, that's fine. And if I'm crazy, I don't care. The idea that you have, it's like, I got this Michael Jordan rookie card. Yeah, I'm just gonna write on it. Just think the absurdity of that. You taped over the moon landing tapes because you did not have enough tape left, and you had to use that tape for other events. The absurdity is boggles the mind. Now, what is NASA doing? I don't know. They're not going back to the moon. We've only had 10 people land on the moon ever, all Americans. There haven't been one since 1972. All right. Oh, my goodness. Crazy. Yeah, I had a hard time with my gas one, too. The freaking carburetor used to piss me off every year. I'd go in there. It's like, man, why can't I just start this every year? I clean it out, clean the filter, clean the carburetor. The next year, at the end of the year, it'd be the same thing. I was like, man, the battery power worked fine. I'd pay somebody. I always said I was never going to pay somebody. I'm a hypocrite. I do. It was like, all right. How dare you don't be a climate change person. You're denying climate change, Harry? How dare you? We got heart flight. I expected annual spend 30 to 40, we'll say 40. Retirement portfolio, 750,000 invested, 70% stock, basic Wellington, plus 50 cash and paid off home. Too much anxiety to jump and quit crappy old job. I don't get it, man. 54 years old. So we're gonna say you're spending 40,000 a year on 750. You're spending 5.3% a year, and you have no debt. And then Social Security in 13 years or so is going to take off half that spending for you. I don't understand why you're too much anxiety to jump and quit your crappy old job. I don't get that. What if you had $1 million? Would you have less anxiety? And then I'd say why? $2 million? It doesn't make sense to me. I literally don't understand this. I mean, again, folks, and I'm going to pick on her for a second. She has $750,000 in a Wellington type fund. This her portfolio. If she got no interest, she could take 40,000 a year from that for 18.75 years. So by the time she's 18, 64, 74, by the time she's 72, she got no interest. That money would last her for basically 20 years with no interest at all. It's only a 5.33% distribution yield. At 62 or 65 or 67 or 70, she'll take Social Security, which will take a lot of exposure off that portfolio. I bet probably the bulk, frankly, because I bet she's gonna make more than $2,000 a month in Social Security, given how much she has saved up. I don't get it, man. It seems like you're ready to rock and roll to me. But and by the way, there's nothing wrong. It says you can't go to another job and just dig ditches for a couple of years. When I say dig ditches, that's all encompassing the part-time jobs. That's just Tyler Durden. Well, he's the thing from Zero Hedge, and he wasn't he the guy from that one Brad Pitt movie. I had a good friend of mine who said this is the best movie ever. I didn't do anything for me. Whatever that one, the Fight Club. I said it was okay, but I didn't think it was that big a deal. Oh no, I offended somebody. Wind and solar is so corrupt. So here's this guy's straw man. Wind and solar is so corrupt. And then he says to disprove that oil companies make billions and get government subsidies. That is corruption. All right. Well, maybe, but he did not say that wind and solar. But he said it was a stupid statement for me to say that wind and solar is corrupt. But you didn't say it wasn't corrupt. You just said oil companies are corrupt. Okay. Let's get rid of all subsidies. I 100%. Let's do it. I would love to get rid of all subsidies. How awesome would that be? Get rid of them all. Let's see what happens. Joshua, these people aren't that very intelligent. Not you, Joshua. Wind and solar is made from oil. Everything is made from oil. My man Josh knows this. The idiot's ipso facto. He thinks he's so smart. He's just not that bright, man. He's just not that bright. Let's just put it that way. Because if you were, who wants to bet that ipso facto flies? And I think we're done here. Because he's not flying on a battery-powered machine. He's just not. Thus, he's flying on machines that are created with petroleum, with oil, with gas, you name it, with fossil fuels. The idea, by the way, of making steel with wind and solar is so flippin' stupid to be insane. If we want to get rid of all subsidies, I'm 100% for that. Can you imagine a freaking smelter without? How are you going to heat it? How are you going to heat it, man? Just stop. Stop. It's embarrassing. You guys embarrass me. I'm embarrassed for you. The idea that you're going to have any kind of production in a civil society without fossil fuels is so mind-bogglingly dumb. And if wind and solar is corrupt, which they and unequivocally are, and you make the argument that it's not corrupt because oil is so corrupt, all right, let's meet you halfway. Get rid of them all. And I would even let's get rid of all charitable deductions too, 100%. Get rid of them all. And right wingers should take this to account too, because the vast majority of people who are benefiting from charitable deductions are not right wingers; they're left wingers. Why do you think Nancy Pelosi is passing the biggest tax cut in history for rich people via getting rid of SALT? Because the rich people are the ones who pay this stuff. And so Trump actually had a big tax hike on rich people. And thus, Nancy Pelosi, by getting rid of the SALT limits on deductions, she's having the biggest tax cut on the rich. And guess who else gets subsidized by the rich, which are all liberals for the most part, is under charitable deductions, 100%. Oh, boy. Sometimes it's hard to be the smartest guy around. It's not hard to be the smartest guy around when you're dealing with fools that just bought hook, line, and sinker the climate change stuff. It's not hard. It's just a sad thing is these people, the problem is they think they're the smartest guys, and they're not. They're just not that bright because they don't think. It's kind of like that guy from James Madison I was telling you about earlier, who thought that Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 black people. It's just foolish because they literally have lost their ability to think for themselves. They have. And you're not going to convince them. So you mock them, you laugh at them, and then you go try to convince the people who are agnostic, because these people are fools, man. The agnostic aren't. The agnostic are the silent majority sitting in the background just observing. And the problem is when you see these fools and they're so brutal arguments, it's just what I'm saying. It's like they're just so nasty. A lot of agnostics, because they sound like they know what they're talking about, they'll say, I guess maybe he's right because he sounds so confident. It's like the aggressive salesman. Well, he seemed to know what he was talking about, so I just went with his pitch. It's no different than a snake oil salesman, just bullying people into saying, uncle, uncle. And that's why you mock these people. You call them out for the idiots that they are, because they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. They just don't. They're incapable of that. And so what happened is when you see the bullies on the left coming after you for your anti-Maxine Waters stance, or your belief in certainly not evolution, or your belief that, hey, maybe we're not going to have our current society based on your stupid fossil fuel, based on your stupid solar and wind. Because don't forget, they also hate hydro. They hate hydro. They also hate nuclear. They hate nuclear. Sometimes they hate biomass, which they should, but generally speaking, they're okay with biomass because they don't mind the chopping down of virgin forest in North Carolina to send to England via ship, which isn't run on batteries, so they can burn it in the Drax factory, so they can get credit for biomass, which is non-carbon. The whole thing's freaking insane. Anyway, so the point being is, so some of these agnostics will sit there and say, maybe these guys, just because they're so brutal, maybe it's because they're brutal because they don't have a leg to stand on, which is exactly what it is. They don't know what they're talking about. And when your religion is being challenged and you have no faith in the religion, I mean, you have faith, trust it, but you don't have a knowledge of the religion. And the religion in this case is climate change. When it's being challenged, it really brings out, basically the Bible basher. I'm going to bash you with my Bible. That's what Christians who don't know the faith do. We call it God of the gaps. God of the gaps. So I don't know. So boing, I'm going to bash you with this because God did it. You're like, well, that's not going to convince people. That's why apologetics are so wonderful, because it's okay to say I don't know, but you don't have to say, well, God did it because I can't understand. That's not the convincing argument. And you certainly don't say, well, it's in here. Read your Bible if you haven't read your Bible. And you got to know what's in here to defend it. And then that's called being an apologist. Apologetics, a defense of the faith. And then you do a polemic, which is attack on those who are challenging your faith by, like this guy right here. He's attacking me because I'm challenging his faith in climate change. And he's like, oh, so he's attacking me. And because I'm challenging, and he knows he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he can't admit that because it's all based on faith. Yeah, all right. Everything's mining. If it's not grown, is mined. Everything. If it's not grown, is mined. I'll read you an article I did when I worked for 6 months for the Arizona State Mine Inspector. I had written an article about how mining, literally, there used to be bumper stickers that said, if it's not grown, it's mined. And I had no clue, man. I had no clue what comes from the ground to create everything we have. It's amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing. And we need it. Scots, they say to retire to something, could be a part-time job. So 100%. Don't May not pay much, but not just sitting around. Absolutely. If I want to retire at 55, should I keep a large cash position in a taxable account? Yeah, absolutely. I got no problem with that. Yep. No debt. Biden is the best president ever. No debt and mortgage and a pension. I think he's goofing us, Josh. Yeah, good question. Eric says, "What other streams of income do you have other than your primary job?" Big T loves Kamala. I think we're being trolled because literally no one loves Kamala. Not even Willie Brown. Not even Willie Brown. No one loves Heels Up Kamala. Let's just put it that way. Oh, my man, I have a 3D printing business in infancy. The idea is intellectual property, but the market is responsible for it. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Dan says, I plan to be a handyman. Right on, man. Yeah, I agree. Youngkin's another rhino, but at least he's not going to mandate the Maxine water. So I'll take that rhino. He won't mandate it, but I'm not holding my breath. Oh, Jill coming out in 100%. 100%. I was reading someplace that there was 10 terminated pregnancies. What were they called? Did you see that, Jill? Pregnancy is it's not an abortion. You know what I'm talking about. Terminated pregnancy. I'm drawing a blank. 10 is, I can't remember where it was, but that was quite high. And who knows? Who knows? Hey, right on, man. We got Phoenix, Arizona in the house. Appreciate it. Being single is easy. Need help as a married couple trying to figure out tax strategies? Nah, no way, man. Married couple is so much easier than being single for tax strategies. Dog walking is good exercise and pays pretty well. That's interesting. Dog walking. Interesting. Hear that, folks? Dog walking. So my man, YouTube certified mechanic. That's cool. My man says, do you have to take all your 401k when you retire? Can you take payments? It depends on what your employer allows. So if your employer allows you to take payments, you can, but they might not. That seems recently a lot of my clients, their employers are not allowing them to take regular payments, which is kind of frustrating. Yeah, people love their pets, man. No, Dan, you can't take it either way. It depends on what the employer plan allows. I mean, so if the employer plan says you have to take a one-time distribution as a 100 lump sum distribution and roll it to an IRA, that you can't take it in regular accounts. I think there kind of is. Jeremy says there's a little bit of a difference between Rumble app and Rumble website. I do think there is, man. The app doesn't work as well as a website in terms of just in terms of finding stuff, if that makes sense. So make sure if you find someone on Rumble you like, subscribe to them because you might never find them again. All right. Yeah, Brett. Drop in and say hello, Josh. Brett is retired down in Florida, thanks to me. Look at that. Oh, look at that. I love that picture of that dog. You got it, Brett. Right on, man. Speaking of singles, to write restricted application on Social Security if taking survivor benefit with intention to swap later. I've never heard that, where you got to write restricted application to take survivor benefit. I'm not saying don't do it. I haven't heard that before, that you have to write that. So if you got some experience on that, say it. But I had yet. I'm not challenging. I had not heard that. Tim says, my wife is 4 years older than me and will be drawing Social Security on my work record. I feel early draw would be best, but not sure. Oh, yeah. I get what we're saying. All right, good. So your wife is 4 years older. So if you take it at 62, you open up the window for her to get the spousal benefit. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I can see both sides of that, but yeah, that's one of those times where it's probably a good idea to take it earlier. But I don't know your whole circumstance, but that's a tough one, 100%. Hey, each and every year you wait is a year that you're going to get a bigger benefit, but she's not getting any benefit at all, none. And so if you wait till your full retirement age, which is say 67, she's 71. That means 5 years have gone with not only you not getting your benefit, but her not getting her spousal benefit either. And then when she's 71, she's still going to get the same spousal benefit. Yeah, that's a tough one there, man. Hit the like button. Appreciate it. HSA reduces FICA and therefore Social Security if paid from payroll. Is it better to fund independently? I get that makes my head hurt thinking off the top of my head. It reduces FICA. Is HSA goes? I don't think it does, man. I don't think HSA contributions are not subject to FICA. Because I've done videos on 401ks, but if memory serves, their 401k contribution is still subject to FICA. I mean, the amount of money you earn is still subject to FICA, even if you put some of that money into a 401k. I don't think HSA has reduced FICA, but but don't take my word. Some of y'all are gonna have to research that. No, I didn't see right Vortex, no liability no matter what. Pfizer trials, docs, 55 years to release. That's crazy, man. Yeah, Dan said he wishes he could pay $1 million in taxes this year. Keep it simple, stupid. People working under the table, not covered by Social Security, disability, or workers' comp, then shocked when they don't get benefits. Exactly. It must be a mighty big table. Oh, man. Love Josh's video on converting 1 million to Roth in 1 year and be done with it. Ooh, not for everybody, but in this guy's case, just move on. 100%. Still painful, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just I converted a third of my IRA. I'm like, oh, yeah. Missed many years paying Social Security, has worked abroad. Yeah, so Social Security is down low, 100% Kuwaita. Oh wait, why? Oh. All right. How long after Sands is pronounced San? No. Damn, I was trying to be all smarty farty. Sans is pronounced San? Saying without? No, that's not true. No way. We're gonna go to Google. We're gonna go to DuckDuckGo. Sans. How do you pronounce sans in French? Hold on just a sec. That can't be. Where's the thing that would tell you how to do it? The pronunciation. It says sans on here. I can't see. I'll go with you. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Roth IRA, all in VTSMX for a 20-year-old starting his retirement fund. Any thoughts? Freaking love it, man. Can't beat that. Can't beat that. I wouldn't worry about FICA lowering Social Security when it saves you 7.5% right off the bat, tax-free forever. I wouldn't worry about FICA lowering Social Security. I wouldn't worry about FICA lowering Social. I don't get it. I'm not following what you're saying. When it saves you 7.5% right off the bat, are you saying by not paying FICA payroll tax, you're saying you wouldn't worry about it because it saves you 7.5% and you have that money tax free forever? You think that, and that's what these people do. But then they hit 62 and 65, and they don't get crap for Social Security. I'm just telling you, man. I've seen it, and it's 2008 Honda Accord and 2010 Toyota Camry. Right on, man. Hey, look at that. My man sold my car, take the bus, use the bus pass. Oh, that's awesome. Went down in one car between the SO Toyota Prius. What's the SO? Spouse? Significant other, significant other. Yeah, I don't even know what's going on the table anymore, man. I'm not sure. I had heard that House passed that, which is interesting, but we'll see. I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't bother me. That it just I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I just think people get so caught up in trying to maneuver around the tax code. I just say pay the tax and move on. I guess I'm just a simple caveman. I don't understand your ways. Or I'm just a simple islander from Maine. I don't understand your ways. All this tax planning and stuff like that. I say, I make the money, I give some money to Caesar, and I keep the rest for myself. And I try to give some to the big guy upstairs to do because I'm his steward. And if I can do that and still be comfortable, I'm gonna be okay. Um, I don't. Well, I will never have a $10 million Roth, and I'm okay with that. And if people have a $10 million Roth and $10 million IRA, and they say you can't defer more money, it doesn't bother me. It just doesn't. But that's the theft of the government. I hear that all the time. Like, yeah, but we're living in the real world, man. We're never gonna have anarchy. We're never gonna have anarcho-capitalism. It's not gonna happen. We're always gonna have a government, and we're always gonna have taxes. And it just seems to me to get all wrapped around the axle because of what will never affect me doesn't make sense. And they'll say, well, it doesn't affect you now. Well, it could. Walter Mondale. Let's just Walter Mondale. All right. Right. I have no clue. St. Lucian is a nation island, St. Lucia, and the Lesser Antilles. Antilles. Never been there. Don't know nothing about it. Sorry, man. Should we concern our advisor hasn't explained tax strategies? Yes. What the hell? Yes. That's the only way an advisor can actually be worth his keep. Well, not the only way, but not by investment management. That's silly. Yes. CMP is challenging the referendum, calling it unconstitutional. They're also not stopping the corridor until January when the referendum goes to effect. Wow. There's been pressure to have the committee politicians to stop the corridor construction and not wait till January. I think it passed it got beat, whatever it was. CMP got beat pretty overwhelmingly, if that makes sense. I think they did. That's going to be tough for the politicians not to honor the people's vote. I didn't find out Josh until I was 57. Can't remember what we're talking about. All right, so Shelly's got a question. Why can't I get $45,000 from Social Security that ex-husband owed me back child? He passed away in 2009. Thanks so much. Why can't I get? I don't know. Have you contacted Social Security? I don't know why you can't, but hopefully you can contact Social Security and find out. I don't know the answer to that. Sorry. If I were to set an irrevocable trust for your grandkids that were just born, what asset allocation be set at and forget it? Kids' money at 30. You were just okay, gotcha. Oh, I put it in VTI, be done with it. I mean, it's 30 years, man. I mean, just VTI and move on. That's what I would do. That's total stock index, by the way. Tommy G. Do all 401k allow Rule 55? Yeah, absolutely. It's the IRS, the Internal Revenue Code allows that. So your 401k has to allow it. Now the issue is your 401k does not have to allow for multiple distributions. They can allow only one time or multiple, or any. It's completely up to what they want to do. So while it has to be allowed, because it has nothing to do with your 401k provider, it has to do with the IRS. The question is, does your company, will they allow multiple distributions? A lot of companies don't. They just don't want the hassle. All right. You're out shopping tonight. Economy must be good. It's people like carts full of crap. That's crazy. Yeah. or 100%, or social. I mean, she's asking why will they not? I can't speak on behalf of that entity. That's for sure. Macomb County, Michigan. Right on. Macomb County, Michigan, says Tom Moseri. Yeah, right on, man. All these fancy cars. I'm still driving a 2009 Mazda 3 hatchback stick shift. Yeah. I want to drive a stick again. Old my SO says, no, we're not driving a stick. I say, man, that way the kids can't steal the car. The kids don't know how to drive sticks. Oh man, I'm telling you. Shh. I'm getting I'm buying this from Harry. His 2018 Honda Accord's a stick. I'm buying that sucker from Harry. Jeremy, oh man, Jeremy's a young 2004 GTJ's 5-speed manual with 4-inch lift kits and 35. Was that the rims right there? These youngins today, youngins. Hey, Bruce, que paso? Yeah, well, NRAs, but if it wasn't for the NRA, we would not be where we are, moving the ball on gun rights. I look, I get it. The NRA, a lot of people hate them. I'm a life member, and they were the first to take this. I mean, I know GOA was, I get it, but at the end of the day, the NRA was what led to where we are today, without question. And kudos to them. Now, the reason was because GOA, the Gun Owners America, was nipping at their heels, saying, "You better get on the move here and start, protecting our rights." And then this is what happens when you have third parties. I'm telling you, the Green parties pull the Democrats to the left. That's why we need a third party for the Republicans to pull the Republicans to the right. This is what happens. I'm telling you, man. So the GOA, Gun Owners of America, were out there nipping up the NRA's heels because NRA was vacillating. And a lot of people were giving up their NRA membership in the 90s saying, well, screw you guys. You're not here to defend gun rights. And then they saw the writing on the wall. I said, if we want to keep our membership, we're going to have to go more aggressive in defense of gun rights. And as such, they turned the whole ship around. Now, I get there's probably some corruption there. I get all that. But at the end of the day, gun rights are more solid than ever. It's great. And the Green Party did the same with the Democrats. The Democrats went heavy on Green because they lost, what's that lady's name? Jill Stein. They lost just enough votes to Jill Stein to lose the election. They said, oh boy, we can't do that again. That's why I mean, if there was ever a good party on the right, constitutionalist party, populist party, I would join in 2 seconds flat. That way, at least the Republicans would be pulled to the right. That's the only way to do it, man. And essentially what's happening within the Republican Party, they're being pulled to the right because Trump. But it did not have to be like that. It might not be that again. I'm just telling you, be advised. So don't just throw in with the R's because they have an R. There's just some bad folks in there too. It seemed like another example I was going. Oh, churches. I mean, all these churches, man. I mean, these mainstream churches are losing memberships left and right, and they're not switching. They're saying we're going to go down fighting for stuff that's not biblical. You know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about. Stuff that's not biblical. And they're saying we don't care, we're going down. And there's like all these people say, okay, we'll be an evangelical church, and they're booming. Catholic Church is booming in Africa and China and stuff because they're not bowing down. It's amazing what happens. It's amazing what happens when you don't bow down. People say, I mean, the people who weren't with you anyway were going to leave anyhow. But the other people say, thankfully, I see a group that's adhering to my way I see things. And this is why the Republicans can never win by appealing to the mushy middle. They've always got to appeal to the base. The Democrats do this. You appeal to the base, man. That gets them fired up to come out and vote. The mushy middle is like, I don't know, man. I'm kind of scared. I don't want to be called a racist. I think I'm going to get ready to get out of here, man. Yeah, right on. Good to see all these people retiring, all these media articles telling people to work until 4. Crazy. All right, Marsh, we'll get the last one here. Why do RIAs always assume you live into your 90s and move you into stocks? I care about 13% cash. Yeah, because investment advisors have drank the Kool-Aid on stocks. They see the average rate of return of roughly 11% since 1926, and they think that's perpetual. They don't know anything about Japan. I guarantee if you ask any investment advisor who's all big on stocks, well, how do you explain Japan? What if we go into a Japan? A, he won't know. And B, if he does, he'll say, well, Japan has a current account surplus. Because that's what I've heard people here say. Well, Japan's got a current account surplus. And I would say, just take 2 Glock 19s. Glock 17 or 19? What do I got up there? 17 or 19? I can't remember. Anyway, just take 2 Glocks, put them to my forehead on both sides, and pull the trigger. Oh, because it's so flippin' stupid. The reason Japan's market fell below inflation is because they have a trade account surplus. The reason we're not going to go that rate is because we have a trade account deficit and we have immigration. The issue is if we go into a Japan economy, we're screwed, man. There's no other way around that. And just because we haven't gone into one doesn't mean we won't. And I'm just telling you, man. And now you're going to say, let's just look at the Bogle. Let's run the numbers from Bogle. Earnings growth year over year, e.g. YOY. So this makes me sound so smart. E.g. earnings growth year over year plus DY, dividend yield, equals rate of return. That's it. Earnings growth year over year plus dividend yield equals rate of return. Now you can throw some price of PE appreciation or PE depreciation or whatever going down. That's speculation. But the other two are earnings growth year over year plus dividend yield. Add those two together and you get returns of the stock market. Returns can be lower if people are getting nervous and selling stocks, thus the PE ratio is going down, or returns can be higher if people are getting more aggressive in buying stocks, thus the PE ratio is appreciating. But earnings growth year over year plus dividend yield. And so for people to say you should be more in stocks because historical rates of return are 10 to 12%, you say, how do you get that going forward with PE ratio or not PE ratio, dividend yield being 2? Are you saying we're going to have a 10% earnings growth year over year? The absurdity, you don't even have to, I mean, just that's literally what they're saying. We have a 2% dividend yield. That means to get 12% a year, we're going to have 12%, a 10% dividend, a 10% earnings growth. That's freaking nuts, man. No one would say that makes sense. No one does. And the only other thing would be to say, well, we have an increase in the PE ratios. And this is where the whole negative Nelly's on. The PE ratios are so high. And I actually fall in that camp. I'm just saying it doesn't mean it's going to have a correction or a fall because PE ratios are so high. But to say we're going to get 10 to 12% rates of return, you'd have to say 2 things. Earnings growth year over year is going to be in the double digits, which is absurd. Or the PE ratios have to go higher, which is absurd. It just doesn't make sense. None of those make sense. Or you'd have to say the dividend yields are going to have to go higher. Yeah, that's not happening. Stupid. And so anyway, so this doesn't make any sense. So anyway, that's I would say to somebody who's saying you need to be more in stocks, say, well, what happens if we go to Japan? What happened in Japan? All right, you're fired. Well, we're not going to go to Japan. Why? Well, because we're America. Okay, you're fired. We're not going to go to Japan. Why? Well, because Japan, demographics in Japan, we're not like that. And we kind of are. I'm not saying we're always like that in Japan, but we're pretty close. Japan, is too highly regulated economy, and as such, they can't get the earnings growth that we get here. That's a legit answer to make. Then you're gonna have to say, well, given the dividend yields are 2%, are you thinking earnings growth would be 9, 10, 11% going forward? Because that's the only way you justify a 10 to 12% rate of return. There's no other way. And they'll say, well, probably not, but at least we won't be like Japan. Okay, well. Japan also had low inflation and low growth for many, many years too. And it wasn't until 2013 the markets even came back to the black. So how do you, literally, we're not even back even where we were in 1990. So how do you explain why we would not even go to a half Japan? What if we go to a half Japan? This is what I'm talking about, man. I mean, demographics is destiny, always and will ever be. And demographics are going like this all over the world. Inflation is here because of not high interest rates, but because high energy costs. And the supply chain is, that sucks. And that's not getting better. It doesn't look like. I got an email from a guy in Vancouver. It's a crap show up there. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And that's inflationary. But, that's the short-term stuff relative to, that can be fixed. the energy costs, ultimately, it'll be painful enough that they will open up the stuff that they close down. But we'll see. Maybe they won't. And as such, there's not going to be earnings growth year over year because inflation will kick in. Cheap energy leads to cheap products, which means more profits, which means more price to earnings ratio increases because more earnings growth year over year. High energy prices means more expensive products, means less profits for companies. And by the way, less consumer demand because we don't have as much money left over in our pocketbooks to buy other things, less growth in the economy. And as such, less growth for stocks. Nope, like that, and less PE ratio, or less earnings growth year over year. All right. I'm getting tired, man. I'm going to get cut out of here, but I appreciate y'all being here. God bless. If you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, let me know. We'll see you guys on the AM, and I appreciate y'all. Thanks now. See ya.